The time is 16 minutes to 8. The RSPCA has decided not to press charges against the prominent lawyer Jolyon Maugham, who announced on Twitter on Boxing Day morning that he had killed a fox with a baseball bat. It had got caught in netting around the chickens on his property in London. For his first broadcast interview since that decision, he's here in the studio. QC, Director of the Good Law Project as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
The key point for the RSPCA was whether to establish whether there'd been unnecessary suffering, and it concluded in the end that the fox was killed swiftly. It was still beaten to death by you that morning.
I'm a little uncomfortable with that question because this was very much not the interview I agreed to give, and I'm not really sure why you're putting that question to me, but as you have, let me answer it. The government guidance is very clear. It says that if a fox is caught on your property, if it's ensnared on your property, you must, and it uses that word must, you must kill it humanely. What the RSPCA concluded was that I killed that fox swiftly. Had I not followed the government guidance, I would no doubt be amenable of exactly the criticism that the RSPCA put to me at the time, and you are putting to me again now.
The reason that I asked that question was precisely to establish that, because this is the first time that you've spoken since the RSPCA came to that decision, and I thought it was important to establish for the record and put out the reasons that they came to that decision was that they looked at the fox and they decided it had been killed swiftly, and that was why there is no further case against you. So that was for the record. Now, in terms of what happened to you after that, clearly there was a very significant reaction because you made this statement on Twitter and a lot of people got very angry about what you had said. What was it like to be at the sharp end of that?
Well, it's pretty all-consuming, even as you know that the impacts on your real life are modest. So the Good Law Project's funding since mid-December, in fact, is up. None of my clients have deserted me. The real life impact's very modest indeed. If you're at the centre of a pile-on that moves from social media into real-world media and extends for 7 or 8 days, it's enormously painful. It's all-consuming. You feel as though your life is at an end. And I read with some sorrow, as many of us did, what was written about Caroline Flack. Without a very loving marriage, without a very close relationship with my children, without the support network I have, I'm not sure that I would be here to tell the story, to give this interview today, despite the fact that, as the RSPCA concluded, I acted consistently with the law, and if you read the government guidance, I acted entirely consistently with that guidance as well.
Do you think it has changed you then? I mean, you're a prominent lawyer because you've brought legal challenges against the government, and that is why you have a significant Twitter following. You're forthright in your views. Do you think that you have a different manner about you now, whether online or otherwise, because of experiencing what you have?
Well, nothing like this leaves you unchanged. It's absolutely fair to say. But I have always sought to be powerful with those who are powerful and sympathetic to, forgiving of those who do not hold power. And in a world in which we've had for many years an opposition that has failed to hold the government to account, a media that has also, it seems to me at least, often failed to do its job with the government, it's very, very important that those of us who are able to speak truth to power, and that's absolutely what I've sought to do.
But just looking back, Can you see why people were so upset by what you said that day, why what you did that day?
I can understand, yes, I've apologised for the tone of my tweet. That tweet actually has 2 sentences. The first is, I have killed a fox. The second is, how has your Boxing Day morning? And what I was trying to communicate to people was the incongruity of my Boxing Day morning compared to those I speak to on social media. Those who live the values that they were articulating when they spoke of their anger towards me, people like Chris Packham, people who've been very brutal critics of mine, I have a lot of respect for them. They're perfectly entitled to say about me and about my actions what they did. Many others of us, those of us who eat eggs, who drink milk, who eat meat, do not face. We outsource to blue-collar workers a long way from us the ethical consequences of the decisions that we make to drink milk or to eat eggs. I'm proud that I face those ethical choices myself. I face the difficulties that drinking milk and eating eggs involves. I'm pleased that I bring my children up to understand what it is. I don't criticise those who eat meat or who drink milk or eat eggs, as I do, but I do think that everybody really ought to face the ethical choices implied in those decisions.
Jolyon Maugham QC, thank you.